Hi, I'm Katie Anderson, teacher, gifted endorsement teacher, curriculum writer and owner of Ingenious Curriculum Solutions, and mom. Some of my videos are more pertinent just for parents or parents and teachers. This one is for you too, students. This is a video on essay writing and kind of the basics behind and an intro to essay writing. I get a lot of parents and kids frustrated with how to get started, how to stay on track, how to organize their papers. And so in this video, I'm going to try to give you the basics. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of all the nuances of your transition words and transition sentences, although those are super important. I'm not going to go into the details of how to write varied sentence structure and sentence length, or making sure that all of your grammar is perfectly in the correct tense. And so I can make videos on all of those in the future if you'd like. Just shoot me a comment in the comment section and I'd be happy to do that for you. But what this video is for is to get you through the basics, the kind of the essay writing 101. I'm also going to concentrate just on informative or expository writing here, where we're looking at pulling in research and drawing from evidence to prove our point, or a persuasive essays where of course you're trying to persuade someone or convince somebody to agree with your point of view, and even often a call to action asking them to do something once they have your opinion or see it through your perspective. I'm not going to get into narrative writing. That's another a completely different topic that again I'm happy to do if some of you need that. So I also am going to put a link in this description for a graphic organizer you kiddos can use to fill in the blanks and kind of get your thoughts organized before you sit down to write the paragraphs. And that's crucial. Don't get hung up on your title yet, and don't get hung up on sitting down and looking at this blank screen or this blank piece of paper and thinking that you have to have the whole thing written out. I'm going to walk you through some steps. First, you decide what your perspective is or what your point is that you want the readers to understand. Get that main idea clear in your head before you ever start writing. Then you sit down and you start organizing with my graphic organizer, or if you have another way of doing it that you prefer, that's totally fine, of course. In your intro paragraph, you need to start with a hook. Your hook sentence when you're younger and you were in elementary school can be a little bit kitschy. It can be a little bit like it can start with a question. Have you ever wondered? But the older you get, the more you want to walk away from those as a hook. It needs to be a sentence that catches the reader's attention. Then you need 2, 3, 4 sentences of just general background information that gives the reader an idea of what's going on in the background, what might have led up to your perspective or the point of your paper historically. You always want to end your introductory paragraph with a thesis. I could do an entire video on a thesis statement, but in general, and I'm happy to, but in general, your thesis statement should be able to tell the reader, if it's pulled out all by itself without seeing anything else in your paper, your reader should know exactly what you're about to write. So it should have your topic, and if you have 2 body paragraphs, it should have them listed. If it has 3 body paragraphs, you want them listed. I know this is a little formulaic, but it's going to work until you get your own writing style. So a good thesis, if you were trying to persuade or convince your parents that you deserve as much screen time as you want, might be: kids deserve the right to have as much screen time as they want because... And then you list your 3 reasons that you're going to lay out in your body paragraphs. And maybe your reasons are, you're asking us to become responsible for our own time, we are getting old enough to make adult decisions for ourselves, and there's no real evidence that shows screen time is dangerous for healthy teens. And then you put a period and there's your thesis. Do you see how your thesis statement is the most crucial one in your whole essay? It's the one that tells your reader what it's about and what your 2 or 3 reasons are that they should believe you, or what evidence you're going to show them and lay out in your body paragraphs. Then you get to your body paragraphs. And again, without just writing out the whole paragraphs, I highly recommend sticking some research bullet points along the way in an outline or some form of a graphic organizer before you set out to write your paragraphs. Each one of those body paragraphs has to start with a sentence that lets the reader know what to expect in that paragraph, and then you go into evidence, elaboration. Evidence, elaboration. I recommend doing that probably twice in that paragraph. You're going to do it more the older you get. You also need to cite where you got your evidence from, evidence being facts, statistics, quotes, anecdotes, and your elaboration sentence after each piece of evidence is you reflecting on that evidence, giving a little bit more of your opinion or justifying it, elaborating on it, making it a little bit bigger, a little bit broader, helping the reader understand what the point of putting that evidence in there was. How you cite your evidence is going to also depend on your writing ability, your level, your age. You might put in-text quotations, citations. You might just say according to and tell us who you're citing before you give us the facts. Just make sure you're not plagiarizing it along the way. You're going to do that for each of your body paragraphs, and make sure that those body paragraphs are in the same order as that list you gave in your thesis statement. Okay? The last one, and the one most people have the most trouble with, is that conclusion paragraph. The best formula to kind of remember as you're getting started and getting used to writing is give each of the first 3 sentences in your conclusion paragraph, sum up each of your body paragraphs. So take body paragraph 1, sum it up into a main idea, and write that sentence in your conclusion. Body paragraph 2, sum it up into a main idea, make that sentence 2. Do the same thing with body paragraph 3 and sentence 3, and then end with a nice punch, a call to action, restating that thesis statement that you put at the beginning, but make sure you've worded it a little bit differently. There are times in there that you may really ask your readers to do something. That's the great part to do that. It's a perfect place to do that is in your conclusion paragraph. If you're trying to persuade someone to believe in your position, but you know there's an opposing position, there's some people that really disagree with you, there are ways to find places in your paper to make sure you do that. We call it a nod to the opposition. You're saying, I know that there's another point of view, and this is why they think that, and this is why they're wrong. You can do that in a whole nother paragraph. You can do it in your conclusion. You can add that right along one of your body paragraphs. Nod to the opposition is another whole video that I could do also. Just make sure if you're persuading, you put that in there somewhere. All right, so to sum it all up, you're going to have an intro paragraph that ends with a thesis, 2 or 3 body paragraphs in the same order as your thesis, and a good sum it up, wrap it up conclusion paragraph. I hope that my graphic organizer down in the description below is helpful to you. If you need me to break apart any of those pieces of essay writing and go beyond the basics, I'm happy to do that. Just shoot me a comment and I'll make a video as soon as you ask for one. I hope that you are having a great day. I wish you the best of luck in your essay writing. I hope the next one is a piece of cake. Happy learning, kiddos, and happy teaching, parents.